This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains no spoilers, but brief mentions of the Vampire Diaries and the Plated Prisoner series.
Everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are re-recording a very special episode with our wonderful friend, Amber.
Welcome back, Amber. Thank you so much for your patience with all these tech issues that we've been having and just finding time on the calendar again with the craziness.
Hi, I'm Amber Nicole, and I'm here with my best friends to talk about my book coming out this March, the Book of Azrael, and there's my dog.
Hi, Puff, and welcome back. This whole episode we recorded a couple months ago. There was some technical difficulty, and we're not going to even try to replicate that episode because there's just...
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was crazy.
It was, it's probably as chaotic as we are as a group. So
every podcast has a lost episode, so that just adds to the lore.
Yeah, I solidified my place in your world with that.
You absolutely have. In our hearts, in our minds, in our podcast, everywhere. So Amber, please, as I told you earlier, Jess and I have gone through your Insta and your TikTok, a very, very deep dive, and have taken notes on everything about your book. So how about you tell us what you are comfortable with for your book, and then we will go from there.
Okay, so I have a synopsis that I have for you guys because if not, I'm going to get derailed, okay? At least I'm honest. But pretty much, it says, for thousands of years after the Gods' War, the Ether world has known peace, but soon that too will change. An old enemy driven by revenge slowly builds an army behind the scenes. Temples are ransacked in search of an item long lost, and enemies since the dawn of time must put aside their differences if they have any hope for survival.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
I love it so much. Okay, so main characters. Tell us about your mains.
So I have 3 main characters in the first book, but you're only going to see the perspective between Diana and Leah. That's the 2 protagonists. That's the 2 love interests, so forth and stuff like that. My third is Caden, which is the main bad guy. And you'll meet him, see him, hear about him and stuff like that, but you don't really get his perspective until later on. But pretty much Diana is this headstrong, fierce, the thing we love about strong female characters. And her story pretty much, without spoilers, is, 1,000 years ago, there was this plague type deal that swept through her desert home where she lives. In order to save her sister, she ended up giving her life to this creature and her person in exchange for her sister's life. And, skip ahead, she's been with this person, she's working for this person. And over the years, it kind of escalated to them finding this book. And so that's kind of where we start off at. And so in Diana's mind, she's like, yeah, sure. You need me to do something? That's fine. You need me to beat someone up for that? That's cool too. Whatever you need, I'll do it. As long as my sister's okay, etc. Not thinking that, hey, maybe if we're kind of searching for something that headstrong and that long, something's going to be the problem. So in this whole discussion, towards the beginning, it's like, why do we need this? It's not like anything is alive after the Gods' War that could do us any damage. All the old gods are dead. JK, no, they're not. There's one left, and that's where we meet Liam.
He is hot. That fan art that you have, I mean, I worry, I usually always go, I don't even say, I feel like it's going to be between Liam and Caden. People are going to be split between, or like, but they're all so good.
I feel like it's going to be two, and I'm like, Caden's so bad. And then I'm just like, oh God, but I know people love the villain. And I'm like, okay, but how villain we talking? Because he's got some problems. So
now, I feel like with your synopsis and even the first chapter kind of that you shared with us, do you consider Deanna a female main character who's a villain? I feel like she's more morally gray because from what we do know, and what you've shared publicly, she has this, everything that she does is for the love of her sister.
Yeah, it's for a reason.
Right. So I don't feel like, and I haven't read the book, but I don't know if it's fair to paint
like her as a villain kind of thing
based on what we know so far.
Yeah. I like to think of her as my Catherine Pierce with a twist.
Love that.
Because she has this mentality where she will do anything to survive, but it's not in a self-centered way. It's for like the love of like her family kind of thing, you know? So there was a tweet or something I saw, and it had a list of like, it named like morally gray anti-hero and, you know, like all this stuff that goes into this detail. And I was reading over that and I was thinking, you know what? I feel like she is on that cusp of morally gray / anti-hero, where in her mind, it's a good cause to keep her sister safe. But at the same time, she's not thinking of this catalyst effect that's happening of what she's doing. You know what I mean?
Kind of like with Loki.
Yeah, it kind of has like that kind of twist to it, I guess, a little bit. Yeah. So it's like, I'm doing something good in my head. At the same time, it's like, is that a snowball effect that's going to make more problems? We'll see.
Because her only focus is the sister, is Gabby.
Yeah. She wants her to be happy. She wants her to have a life. She wants all this stuff. And it's attainable as long as she does what she's told.
I feel like that's gonna, like with anything, you try to tell somebody to do what they're told after so long, there's going to be pushback.
So it was definitely interesting.
Amber, I have a question for you. And my question is, you have written this very strong, like female MC. Can you tell us maybe how or why? Like, are you writing a character that you have wanted to see and haven't seen in literature? So you said, I'll do it myself kind of thing?
So with Diana, it's a little bit of both. It's one, I love the strong female character who doesn't, because like to read about it is so much fun. I've read about some before anyways. And what I talked to you guys about before, like one of my favorites growing up was Elena Michaels from the Bitten series, because it's like, she's this female werewolf, kick-ass badass stuff. And like, you know, I've also read about Kat from Janine Frost's books, which I love her books, vampire series. She's like this half vampire slayer badass type. And so I loved reading about it and seeing it. And so, of course, I wanted to have my own like version of that as well, too. But at the same time, I wanted someone that was still strong, still had her flaws, still had like reason why she did something, or like this, you know, moral compass. But I wanted to see something where, you know, we don't, and this is not a spoiler because I've preached this from day one, we don't see her like lose her powers at the end of a series kind of thing. You know what I mean?
And that's a trope that you hate too.
It is. I know. And people are like, but it's a good reason. And they did it for love and this. And I was like, yeah, but why
can't you have
to be
both?
A thing? Yeah. Why can't you have both? And a lot of the books like that I've read, like I said, the Cat one or the Janie Frost ones, like you have both of these like badass characters where the male, you know, the guy's strong and like, you know, she's strong and they just work together. And it goes that way until the series is over. And it's fun. And I just didn't see it anymore, really. And I want to. So I did it.
Are there any other tropes that you have that you can share with us that are in the book?
I have the one bed trope. There's like a twist. I have of course, enemies to like lovers. But I feel like, it's enemies to lovers. Could I say mortal enemies to lovers? Because like I said, these two creatures have been clashing since the dawn of time, you know, which you'll find out later. But so I have that one. Found family is another big one I have in there throughout the whole series that I love.
And that's just for book one or for the series?
That one's for book one.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that kind of goes throughout it, I guess, would be like more like found family type thing. But yeah.
So what was it like? And this is a question that I've really wanted to ask any female author. What was it like writing a man?
It's fun. I don't know.
Yeah?
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun because, like, I guess with the books you've got to read it. I've read before with different multiple POVs. Like, you can kind of see how it acts at the same time, and of course they think differently. But at the same time, it's still fun because I feel like in this book, without giving stuff away, I feel like I relate more to Liam than I do a lot of the other characters because he is the like last living god. Like I said, that's his whole spiel. But that comes with a lot of responsibility. That comes with a lot of looking after people, taking care of people and stuff like that. And like, I can interpret that because I feel like I do that in my daily life with like my job or like my family life, stuff like that. So I really kind of bonded to that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So Amber, could you please elaborate on, let me see. I want to know like the priority of like questions that I want to ask you.
There's so many characters. I'm worried that I'm going to
Oh, yeah, I know. It's fine. I got you. Just message me. You'll never bother me. Let me know.
Well, because Laura and I were also like going through the Shadowhunter series, and apparently there's like over 20 books and novellas. So when you were even sharing that whether this isn't necessarily going to be wrapped up in 3 books, and you might have a little bit more creative freedom. Yeah. I was like, good. We need a series. Give me like as much as like standalones are nice. Like I love, and I'm sure I know I'm not the only one who has like loves to formulate attachments to different characters, and then you have so many.
I love that, and you can follow them.
You could follow them, and then you can follow like. I feel like there's just so much representation that your readers. Somebody is going to find themselves in one of your characters, and they're all going to be badass, whether it's like they're good or evil or just like personality traits of like why we do the things, like the psyche behind some people. I feel like someone's going to relate to at least one of the characters.
I hope so. I hope they relate to a lot of them, honestly, because they were fun. I mean, they're fun to write, and there's so much story that I couldn't put it in 3 books. It's way too much. But I definitely can see them having side books for sure. So
okay, that is kind of an answer. That's kind of an answer to like my question. And my question was going to be, tell me about the process of world building and how, like where like there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of fantastic names. Like how did we get there? Like how did we get the world building?
It takes a while. So this book has been in the process of being done and out to the world for like 3 years or so. And so the world itself, like I have outlines, I had stuff that I'd written, and like a lot of it within the last year kind of developed more thoroughly. You know what I mean? And so, honestly, that's how I keep track with everything. Like you have to think about not just when you're making up worlds, but like the rules for that world and the magic system. And not that my magic system is going to be like this in-depth, like, you know, Lord of the Rings style, because I don't know. I feel like my book's more like romance with a huge fantasy subplot kind of thing, kind of mixed in.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask that.
So like there is a magic system. It's easily definable. And so you won't sit there and like rack your brain and stuff with it. But you have to think about like the rules of the world, and like, you know, there has to be limitations with anything, because a lot of my stuff, I kind of base off science in general because I'm a science nerd. I don't care. And so there has to be like a give and take. And so like, for example, if you overuse, you can burn out. Not that it goes away. You know, like I said, I'm not taking anyone's powers in some way, but like there has to be like a limit. And there's also has to be a limit when it comes to if you don't use it all, you're just, you know, like how like anxiety or like stress and stuff build and you can kind of spill over. And so I have that playing into fact as well too. So there's just like a lot of little tidbits that you really don't think about until you get further in there, I guess you could say. So I don't know. It's fun, but like it is a lot of work. You got to have like a scratch sheet or something.
So do you find yourself going back and editing and then rereading it like after you've gotten to, like, say if you're like in the like part 3, let's say, and then you think, you know, you go to reread part 1 and you go, wait, like during the writing process, you're like, wait, this isn't, there's no continuity here. I forgot all about this part of the magic world or the world building. How did I get here in part 3?
Not really when it comes to like the magic and stuff or like the like things I can't do. It really kind of caught me off guard in book 1 where it's like we mentioned something that was big and we kind of talked about it. But then towards the end, I'm like, wait, so-and-so never said anything about this again. Like that's kind of a thing we should probably mention again, but so much was happening. So I had to go back and do it. And like the editor I have that's doing a book now is so good because she's so thorough that she goes back 2 or 3 times when she's doing it and like, okay, it still flows. So that makes me feel amazing. But yeah, no, there's something I'm just like, oh, my biggest thing though, I'll tell you, is the monsters I have, because I have a whole sheet of their names and what they are, because I'll go back and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. She did do that. So I have a cheat sheet. I'll have a cheat sheet I need to put like on a website and be like, guys, you're not lost. I got you.
Well, speaking of like your cheat sheet, is there going to be like a pronunciation guide? Because you do have like...
Yeah, I got some names. I know. Yes, I want to have one. I was talking to the publishing house that I'm with, Rose and Star. I want to do like something on the index or something in the book. Like it's something we're still talking about because the physical copies won't be out till like March, you know? And so I'll have it all said and done and set by then. But I wanted like either in the book or I'll have a website link or something for a glossary, because it may be easier to do it that way because there is a lot. Nothing overwhelming. It's not like you're going to be like thrust into this and you're just like too much, but something to kind of look back on.
And a map? Yes.
Yes, I have a map. I have a map. Yeah. I posted that on Instagram too and everyone loved it. And I was like, I'm so happy because I'm obsessed with it. But yeah, no, I have a map that'll be in the book and I'm just waiting for that. I'm so excited.
Can you tell me about the process of developing the map? Like what goes into that?
I actually drew it first because in my brain, I wanted to have certain land masses or something. Like I kind of took it from, like I said, I told you I base a lot of my stuff I have in general back to like science. And so like, you know, here we go on my tangent, but like, you know, back when the earth was like freaking Pangea before everything separated.
I love how you reference Pangea. That just makes me so excited.
That's kind of where we went because, like I said in the synopsis, you know, the ether world was at peace. They were doing whatever they wanted to. And then the God's War happened. Stuff happened, landed onto this world. And so everything kind of shifted. And so like the land masses I have are spread out in a certain way. And I have them like in their different continents and stuff. And then after that, I just went through and it was like, when I was writing the book, I already had the places and names and where they're going. And so when I went back to the sheet, I'm like, okay, well, they're traveling here to here. I want them to pass over this thing. So it's kind of like not really a process of elimination, but kind of. So that's why I did it that way.
I want to say it's like you're working backwards, but it's really like you're working in tandem too.
On my brain. I don't know. I don't know what's up here. It was just like this.
Do you do everything like on the computer? Do you have just like rolls of paper where you just like make all the crazy plot lines and stuff? How do you organize everything?
I have everything on like my computer or my phone. The only thing I have on paper is the map when I drew that itself because I couldn't like do it on my phone. But I will tell you that I have over 400 notes on my phone itself because it'll be like say sections of like book 1 when I was writing it where I have like a general idea of the chapter and then it's all of a sudden this will like start clicking and I'll just like type it on there and I could use it when I'm at work or like on break or whatever. And so I did that. I have so much for book 2 at the moment, but yeah, it kind of accumulates on my phone, goes to Docs. I use Google Docs, which is really helpful for me because it all saves in itself.
Kind of access that anywhere too.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's all more like saved on like my Google Drive and all that.
So I don't want to butcher the pronunciation because I haven't said it out loud, but the world we have in your book is Rashiram?
Rashiram.
Rashiram. What can you spill about that? What kind of vibe do we have there?
So I'm a huge mythology nerd. It is what it is. So I've always felt like Rashiram was a mix between like Greek and Roman mythology when it comes to it. Even though Roman mythology stole from Greek, we won't get into it. I know my friends are probably laughing when they watch this back and they're like, Amber, you know, but it's a little bit of both when it comes to like what they wear kind of thing, kind of like what you would picture. I really love the whole like huge fountains, gardeny type flow. So you have that, but we also, because I know you guys love it too, think about like how Marvel does like, you know, when they did like Thor's little world and stuff, how they have the huge buildings. I have a lot of stuff like structured like that because in my head, they're gods and they're already girl well over 6 feet. So everything they have is, large. So
the euphemism there, Miss Amber.
Yes. So
everything
is
all proportional.
All proportional because science.
It's a tagline of the book.
That's it. That's actually science. That's the
science. Yeah. So I have it like that, but, and this isn't a spoiler because you'll learn as soon as like you read and stuff, and it doesn't affect the plot at all. But Rashiram was more of like the center meeting place. So that's where like Liam and his family and stuff lived. The netherworld is actually where all the gods live. And so that's kind of where, Rashiram was kind of located. And so when they had meetings, when they did whatever, the other gods would come and visit there. And so not everyone lives on Rashiram. That's basically Liam's home.
So then, okay, we have the gods of Rashiram. And sorry.
Give him pets. Give pets.
Give him all the love.
Give
him
pets.
Literally, Amber's dog is part of the podcast now.
Yes.
So that's why he wants all the screen time.
Yes.
Oh, he's playing.
He's like, I can hear them. Tell them that I love them. Ciao. Are you the center of attention? Yes.
Yes. Just, give the attention.
He's the mascot.
Yes. No ignoring. We embrace pets.
We never have pets.
We never have pets.
Ciao, you're the official pet on the podcast.
Yeah, you
okay?
are. Oh.
I thought it was so fast.
All right. So everyone got to see Cal's poop dance.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I thought he wanted attention, but I think he just wanted to poop.
Oh, he's so smart. Better than like having to clean it up.
Yeah.
Girl, no, that's a horse. But yeah, so yeah, that's his home world. So
then, okay, we have the gods of Rashiram, and then you have the guardians of the ether and netherworld. Are they like the guardians to the gods, or is it something completely different? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a whole phylum. So you have the gods themselves, and then they made the celestials, which that's not a spoiler, but those are their guards or their wardens, and like every god has their own like certain set, and the number it's not a set number. So for example, Liam has what's called the hand, and there's about 7 of those that follow under him. And our good old Liam actually took them one by like individually from different gods because he made these like friends when he was growing up on this planet, becoming king and like learning everything from his father. And so like he formed his own hand, and it's like this series of like these great warriors and so forth.
So Imogen, Logan, Navera, Vincent, Xavier, and Cameron are all Liam's hand. It's not, they're not the hand of all the gods. It's specific
they're all
to
under Liam.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. And I wanted them to think about it as like, because the Liam you meet's different than the Liam you'll see like in the past and stuff, because he was pretty much the spoiled, rich, like kind of like frat boy type deal.
My heart.
Yeah. And so like these friends in the hand of him were like all the same, like these cocky, arrogant, like fun, like warriors. So they would, if there was something that had to be taken care of or so forth, or like a world that needs saving, you name it, like they would go take care of it, come back and like party or whatever. So like they have this really tight bonds. And that's what I was talking about with like the found family thing. Like that's what I really like them. They're family first more than he never treats them like subjects or like his warriors kind of thing. Like it's all
like in Plated Prisoner.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. By the way, I love Raven. But yeah, kind of like that.
That's how like, it's just like they're very trusted people that he handpicked, and it's like very okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's very found family. So yeah, and you'll see when you read the difference, because not all the gods were nice. And so not all of them treated them like they were something. They treated them, if they wanted to, like objects. It's like kind of like I made you thing. You kind of do what I have to say. And so you'll see it's just a whole different style when it comes to ruling. And that's why a lot of them were happy when, Liam was going to be the next in line to rule instead of other people. So, but yeah, it's pretty fun. I love writing about them.
Tell me about the creatures that the gods fear. This is the I don't want to say the word. You tell me.
Ignoranthians.
Ignoranthians.
Mm-hmm. And these are the red-eyed baddies, pretty much. These, you have, like I said, again, when we talked about phylum, so you have a class before who were described as being big enough to block out the sun. So if you think about like Greek mythology and stuff like that, you have like, I can't even think of things like, say it's a Hydra or something, like that would be considered what those would be, kind of things. And then evolution stuff and so forth happen. And you have the ones who can shift or change. And that's where you meet like Caden or Diana. And they follow their own set of like rules and stuff as well, too. They have their own people that they follow and respect as well. And so they all kind of, I can't say.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. But so you have that set. And so pretty much it's, always been kind of them against the gods, and you'll find out why and so forth. But there's a reason, and not everything is always going to be as black as white as it seems. And pretty much that's all. And that's another big thing when it comes to writing in general that I like. It's like, I want people to question everything, and you probably will this entire series, which makes me happy.
Do you have a big twist or reveal, or is it a story where you're like, you kind of, it unravels as it goes in like a natural pit?
Definitely unravels as it goes. There's, like I said, when it comes back to like just a lot of information, because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I wanted people to go on this journey with me, like if you were just Liam and Diana, because, I don't want that. I don't think it's the right word to say omnipotent. I think I'm saying it wrong, but I don't want that general where you knew everything. And so like, there's a lot of secrets that Diana doesn't know. There's a lot of secrets that Liam doesn't know. And Liam's been around for like 5, 6, 7,000 years. You know what I mean? Like,
they're still discovering, and we're kind of discovering with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And so you definitely get that as you go. And so that's another thing I like too, because it's not everyone knows everything kind of thing. And like I said, it falls back onto Liam's previous lifestyle where, hey, I know that I'm going to be king. I know I'm big and bad and I can do whatever I want. I'm not going to pay attention in like study hall or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
there's no, because he never knew like repercussions to his actions at that point in his life.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have it. And like I said, he is the last living God thing, and he is the only son of, so Liam's dad's name and how I pronounce it is Anurir. It's kind of how you have to like roll your R when you say it, but the way it's spelled is just like UNIR. And so that's Liam's dad, who is the king of gods. And he totally, I would do it anyways, but he totally gives me like Helion vibes, just the way, like how I pictured him, how he looks and stuff.
Well, even in the fan art that in your aesthetic videos for him,
yeah,
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love him. But yeah, so like you said, no repercussions. And that also, spoiled child, which is so fun when Diana meets him. It's so fun.
I feel like she's gonna rip him to shreds and put him in his
pieces.
Place. And I'm so like,
it's my favorite thing ever, because you got to think it's like, there was a quote that I love, and I think about them when I do it, but it's like, an immovable object meets an unstoppable force. And that's literally the whole time, just like head to head kind of thing, where it's like,
it's hot.
I'm king, I can do whatever. She's like, yeah, I don't care. Like
it's that's how I flirt. That's like my MO. Like he could be the most attractive person and I know it and the world knows it, but I won't let that person know. I'll like let them. I'm like, you ain't shit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's terrible. It's an awful habit.
Even Diana, we best friends. It's fine.
So, Amber, what was, if you don't mind sharing, the most difficult part of just like writing a book? So, like, is it
time? I'm just kidding.
No, but like really, because I can't imagine doing it and like having an idea and like making it happen like that.
Yeah.
Is just so incredible and amazing. And what is like the most challenging part of that for you?
So I have a few. So one time for sure, because like I said, with me working a lot, trying to finish and do everything, I just don't have a lot of time in the day. The second is, like I said, I do outlines, but still trying to keep all the information in order. And then when you get it out there. So the first draft for me always is just like word vomit. That's literally, I'm just trying to get everything out on the page. Like right now I'm doing book 2 and there's like 3 or 4 chapters I have where it's just strictly dialogue. There's no in between, because I had to get that out, get out of my brain, get it out of like the page, and then just keep going.
And it was a conversation, I take it, that you didn't want to forget and you wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And I was like, so, and like by chapters and stuff, I do titles for my chapters. So you'll see when you read, only because not only does it help me remember exactly what goes on in there, but I also just think it's funny play on words, So, yeah, like, in one chapter, it's strictly dialogue because I have to go back and add like parts and pieces, but I knew that that's going to be the main basis. So, it's really just trying to keep everything in order, keep the, I don't want to like jump or skip, which editors, like I said, help a lot, but trying to get that out and everything. And then finding time and not being tired when you find the time.
Does dialogue flow like easy for you, or does like world building flow easy for you, or does everything flow? You just have to be in the mindset. Like, what is the process? Dialogue
flows better to me than anything, because I can visually see where they're at and what they're doing, and then like they talk and go back and forth. It's more so filling in the gaps, and like descriptive was a big problem for me at first. But I feel like I've gotten better over time with it because I used to write for a writing blog itself as well, where I practice more. So it helps. But yeah, no, dialogue flows a lot easier, especially when there's banter. I love banter. I could live off of it.
The best. Banter is absolutely...
I know. I need banter. We read like 2 books recently that we did an episode the other day. And I was like, the banter is missing. Like it's somewhat there, but it's not like the deep banter that we've like had in some other books.
Exactly.
I didn't realize I missed banter until those reads.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, regardless if I have like 12 books or not, the banter will be there even if they ever get together or not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to I don't know. I don't want it to go away.
You're not even confirming if they're together or not.
Yeah. Like, I don't ever want it to go away,
I think that's partly like so what people so enjoy about new. Yeah, exactly. It's realistic because like people enjoy that.
Yeah. Relationships don't get stale when you get in them. I feel like relationships are more fun when you're in them. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like people read it, they're like, oh, they're together, so now it's boring. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just different. I don't know, but you can have their own like dynamic and stuff to fall for. They're still going to have problems. They're still going to argue. They're still going to have issues. They just can be together afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh my God. 1,000 times yes. Just, oh my gosh.
So I have a question. Since you had mentioned that you're already like word vomiting for book 2. So now that you're focused on book 2, is book 1, like now that it's out of your hands, it's getting published, it's actually happening. Are you so concerned about book 1, or are you like, book 1 is in the past, now I gotta like on to the next? Like I can't focus on that right now.
Not really. I'm still doing edits on book 1, so I'd still bear kind of a little bit. But no, I'm not as focused as I was before, where I'm like, I have to change this, I have to add this, I have to do that. Like, I don't think about that anymore. I do have some quotes that I have from book 1 that we use in book 2. But yeah, no, I'm trying to get to book 3 now because there's something that happens that I'm super excited for. So that's where I'm at.
Is it like this storybook structure that you're like, this is what I want? This is what I want in book 2. Here's like, what you want in book 3. So now you're like, now I got to build book 2 to get to this other thing I want in book 3.
Yes. I literally have everything out planned to like book 4 right now. Like I have main parts for each book, like such and such happens in book 2. And then such happens in book 3, and such is the plot for book 4. So yeah, I have it pretty planned out. So I'm excited. I feel like, and at first I was kind of like, oh, how am I going to top that? And I was like, oh. And then I was like, how am I going to top that? I was like, oh. So I'm excited. I can't wait to share.
Oh, I love it. So what can you tell us about Caden? Just a little bit more.
What do you want to know?
Everything that you could tell us. I mean, my goodness.
I feel like Caden is going to be right up Laura's alley, and I'm going to be like, Liam! And I know you're not going to tell us about who's the better person just yet.
Everyone has their flaws. I'm just kidding. So Caden, which funny story, because like I said, I tell you guys everything anyways, but Caden in my head, all I freaking picture is freaking Marcel from the Vampire Diaries. I mean original, sorry. I didn't mean to, let me not slander that man.
Well, I mean, it's one and the same. It's a crossover. So
that's literally who I picture. And I sent pictures to Caden too. And I'm just like, I'm obsessed with this. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, I know you make the aesthetic videos, but like when we're like messaging, every fan art, I'll be like, okay, that is now the person who I will, when I'm reading this, I will go back to like your tip sheet.
And I don't want to be that person who's like, this is who they are in the picture. Cause you can picture whoever you want, like, go for it. But yeah, no. So Caden, there's not much I can say without spoiling because you have to read it, but he's, think of Caden like, yeah, I don't know.
He's a baddie. He's a baddie.
He's the bad guy.
He's a baddie.
Yep. He, yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah,
we don't want to be spoiled.
He's in control of everything. There we go. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So we won't know more information and the public won't know more information until March 29th. So I know you had mentioned paperback. So are you going to have like the paperback out on the 29th, or is it going to be like ebook and paperback?
I have to double check and see with my editor. Well, not my editor, but it's like the publishing company I'm with. But I know for sure paperbacks. I'm trying to see how many advanced reader copies I'm going to get because I want to send those out. I do have some other surprises in the work too that I want to send out with them. So it's just a bunch of stuff right now. And I'm just like, what do I do with my hands? But yeah, so, and I'm sure ebook, like I said, I have to double check and see. I'm not 100%. I have to double check and see. But yeah, definitely paperback. And I know pre-orders start in January.
I'm so excited. Like putting it on our calendar.
Cover reveal January. What? Yeah. The weeks are flying by and I'm so nervous, but excited, but nervous because it's like in the world. And I'm like, oh, it is in the world.
Are you, now that like once you have a pre-order date, and this is just not being familiar with like how the publishing process works. Once you have the pre-order date and people start pre-ordering, does that mean your edits stop? Like it's fully like finished, edited?
No, because you don't read it stuff yet. But I don't have that many more edits left in general. Going to go to betas next and then go from there. But yeah, no. Once it drops is when it's done, but it'll be done before March in general. But like, once it's that March 29th hits at midnight, I'll probably like go recluse.
You really can't do any more edits.
Yeah, no, I'll probably just hide from the world and be like, oh God. But I've already like messaged people I talk to on Instagram and stuff a lot because I'll post aesthetics and they'll message me, which I'm fine with that. I love it. And I'm like, hey, when you read it, if you just want to yell at me, you can. I won't like block you. Like, just tell me what you think. Because I know people are going to be like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yes, I did.
Well, we share your aesthetic videos on our stories a lot on our Instagram.
I know. I love you so
much.
And
we get DMs like, who is this? What is this book? How have you not covered it? And I was like, because we don't have it. We don't know. Like people are really excited and are ready for like something new. Like, not that we don't like all the popular books that are out there right now. But like, I think people also want like, okay, we got all like the quote unquote, like popular books. Like we want something more that isn't
something new, something fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like this is what people want. Like, I don't know.
Makes me so nervous, but I'm excited.
No pressure.
Hope you like it.
So you are saying that like you make aesthetic videos and I imagine that is a lot of fun and stuff. And and you have, correct me if I'm wrong, like official art for Liam.
Yeah. So the one picture that I'm obsessed with that I always show, I have a license to use that for the next 2 years. It was by an artist. Kare, I don't want to say their name on there in the UK, they're UK based, but it was an art that I found and I ended up messaging and DMing this person and we set up this whole email, talked about it and stuff. And I was like, look, this is the closest thing I can find to Liam. It has, cause Liam's biracial. And so, he has like dark wavy hair and like these like strong features he got from like his father and his mother and stuff. And like, you know, the tan bronze skin, like he was in the sun, like he's literally POC. And so like, I was like, this is the closest thing I could find to what he looks like in my head, you know? And so I talked to them and like, so, you know, we signed a whole like agreement and stuff. So yes, that's Liam's face. And then I have artwork that's being done by, some popular artists that I know you guys know from like TikTok and Instagram.
LB.
Yes, I don't want to say her name wrong because I freaking love her.
Yeah, I know. We'll add it in the show notes. We'll add it in the show notes because it was like a scene with Liam and Deanna.
Yes, and so the thing is like, you know, I wanted like just some artwork out there in general, and it's hard because like the book's not out, no one's read it, so you go off like my, you know, Instagram pictures I've made or my aesthetics and stuff and go from there. But she did such a good job, and I like saw it and I was like, oh my god, it's my babies, because it's literally the whole dynamic is in that picture. It's a push and pull with them. Even in book 2, I'm like, Jesus Christ. And so I really like that. I also have some work coming out by Talia, which maybe by this time this posted, it might be out. I may be sharing some stuff, but she's doing some stuff for me as well too. I've known both of them for a while now on TikTok, and I'm absolutely obsessed and I love them. I mean, artwork, immaculate, girl. I'm just like, guys, how you don't have millions of followers by now? Like, what is this? What is this? But yeah, no, I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's amazing. It's so exciting. You mentioned that Liam is POC. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about the representation in the book and the importance and all of that?
90% of my characters are POC. Mm-hmm. And that just falls back onto like my like culture, like my heritage and stuff like that, because growing up, you kind of self-insert a lot when you read books, and you do that anyways, you know what I mean? But I really didn't see like what I wanted to see growing up in books. Like I wanted to see more of it, and not just in that, you know, role where, you know, the movies made fun of before, like, oh, here's the token friend kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't want that like in books anymore, you know, like I want them to like have a purpose and drive and stuff. And so I don't know. I wrote it like I would write anything, like, it reminds me of my family, or like, you know, events and stuff that we would do, and, you know, bonding. So you really have like you have a diverse cast when it comes to like the gods themselves. And then you have a diverse cast when it comes to like the hand, Diana and her sister, like Caden, and like the ones that work for him and stuff. Like, it's really just a mix and a blend. And I never wanted it to be like, I want people to read it and enjoy it, but I never wanted it to be something where, what is the words I'm looking for? I never want it to be something where they're like reading it just because they think, oh, it's just such and such is represented, blah, blah, blah. No, it's normal. Like, it should be normal. Like, you should have a array of characters when it comes to what they look like, sexual orientation, like you name it. Like, it should be how the world is now. Like, I don't know.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
Yeah,
yes,
it's like it's reflective of the world we live in today. So why isn't it being reflected?
Why is it not shown more? You know, and that's not me being negative to any authors out there who are not doing it, or, you know, so forth and so on. And like, I'm not bashing anyone, but it's just something that I want to see more of. So I was like, hey, by the way, here we go. So
do it yourself. Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Oh, we love that. We love that.
Have you had a favorite part of this process?
What do you mean? Like, just in writing in general?
Yeah, like writing in general. For the first book, has it been finding the editor, finding a publisher, doing it self-published? Was it the world building? Was it finding like the collaborations for fan art? I feel like there's so many components.
A little bit of all of it, honestly. Like, I had fun. I'm so excited finding like the publishing and stuff like that, and knowing that a lot of stuff that I was worried about before is taken care of. So like, when it comes to marketing or getting the book out and stuff, like, it's not something that's going to be on my head 24/7 kind of thing. And then the artwork. Yes. I freaking love that, because it's so strange seeing stuff from my brain, like out in the world. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. And then writing in general so as an author or writer, they always say, make sure you love the book you're writing, because you're going to read it like 700 times. Mm-hmm. And it's 100% true, because you legit will when it comes to editing, because you go back and back and back. And so there's these scenes, which I'll message you guys once you get to them, or I know you'll message me when you get to them. There's these things, these books that happen, and they're my favorite scenes. And every time I get close to them, I'm like, oh, I forgot she does this. Oh, I forgot this happens, you know? And like, it'll go, and I'm just like, God, I really like that. I really like that twist. You know what I mean? Like, I really like this.
That's so, like, even after reading it so much,
yes,
that's
my
so,
stuff.
Like,
yeah.
I could go back and read it now, and like, in leading up to it, I'm just like, oh, I forgot this. And I'm like, oh, girl. Oh, my. So, yeah.
What did I put myself through?
I said, no, she didn't, but she did. So yeah, there's a lot of scenes in there that I like. And that's the same with book 2. There's scenes that I'm getting to that I'm writing and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. So yeah, no, I don't know. A little bit of all of it. World building was fun. Finally seeing like my map and something and knowing the places that I've always talked about can be visualized now is fun. Yeah, I can't think about it. Honestly, the only bad experience I had with it was just me trying to make it shine to a point that I found agreeable, because I'm very hard on myself. I'm like perfectionist. All my friends will tell you that. And so I think that was the biggest thing, because I was finally happy with how book 1 turned out. And I was like, okay, let's do this.
I feel like that's the hardest part about being a writer, though, too, is like being your own worst and hardest critic, because then
100%.
it like, how do you ever relinquish that control to somebody else to be like, okay, now it's and like as a writer, as a creator, as a filmmaker, like just in every like media capacity, because you're like, is it good? And it'll never feel like it's good enough. The longer, especially like the longer you have it, I think the more, just one more edit or another little thing.
Just one more.
So many fine.
And then you'll want to add stuff. So this is not in book 1, so it's not a spoiler, but I have this whole plan or this whole ball masquerade scene, and I don't know if I'm doing it in 2 or 3.
But it's happening because we love a ball masquerade.
Yes, we love masks. We love dancing. We love forced proximity. But I don't know if I'm doing it in 2 or 3.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. You have the plan. It'll happen sometime, and that's all that really matters. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Hold on, my dog's back. Hold on 1 second. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to tell you guys. I don't remember now. Creatures. I have more than just the ones that I made up. Like you still see like vampires and werewolves and a mixture of like a bunch of other stuff I have made up.
So do we find out what kind of quote unquote creatures they are? Because I know that we have the names of Caden, Alistair, Tobias, and then Deanna is on that list. But I feel like Deanna was kind of like absorbed as a creature after like over 1,000 years. She started off human or something.
Yeah. So Caden and all of them are still Ignoranthians, but like I said, so how I have it in the book is you have like the Ignoranthians themselves. Like I've told you, the giant monsters, creatures, from like myth and legend. And then you have the ones who it's kind of like it trickles down like you would with like any evolution. So then you have like Caden and them who are like them, but they can still shift into those animals or be a bird, a panther. There's quote unquote, maybe a spoiler for you. Like they can shapeshift. And then you have vampires, werewolves, and so forth. So it's kind of like their own phylum where you have the big baddies, you have the ones that can shapeshift, and then you have the watered down versions, which are like vampires, werewolves, banshees, like you name it. So it's definitely more explained when you read it. It's kind of a little mix of all.
I love that you've given us so much information without spoiling what you already have out there. I think that's the best part.
That's not even the tip of the iceberg. And I'm just like, oh my God, Amber, what you do?
Your publishers are going to love you that you haven't we basically stayed within like the confines of the aesthetics that you already have posted.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
And you mentioned Tobias and Alistair, which we didn't talk about, but those are the other two that work for Caden. So Diana's...
So, because like Caden's like the king of the baddies. Okay.
Yeah, Caden's like the king. There you go. There you go, Laura. I'll give you that one. He's pretty much like the king of the baddies. And then Diana's first in command, Tobias is second, and Alistair's third. And so they're like the bad guys. And then you have Liam, who's the good guy. And he has the hand. And they're the ones that are like on the ether world now, who are kind of like in control, like they maintain balance and stuff. So a lot of times the baddies are still bad, but hiding. And then you have like the regular normal celestials who just kind of like people with a little bit of extra, like a little bit of extra power and stuff. So all living in the same freaking world.
I love it. I love it so much. So for everyone listening, Amber's battery is going to die. So it is no problem. So Amber, what, so like to wrap up, like what is your like send off for your book? Like, what is your like, pitch it. This is your pitch. Yeah.
My favorite thing, and you guys, I swear, I'm a Marvel nerd too. And it's something that they had on the Loki show that recently passed. And I thought it summed up my series in general. that no one that is truly bad is ever really bad, and no one that's really good is ever really good. And that's hook, line, and sinker for the whole thing. So that's my wrap up. So, like I said, I really just want to make people think this entire series. So.
Oh, and it's perfect. And tell us the title, the date, tell us all the things.
The Book of Azrael, and it's coming out March 29th, 2022.
It's so exciting.
So feel free to follow Amber on Instagram and on TikTok. We'll have all her information in our show notes. And also feel free to follow us. We'll be continuing to meet and catch up with Amber post-release to just like scream at her on a public platform so everybody can hear us chastise her. Post-release too. We're so excited. As always, thanks, Amber, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Technical difficulties.
Yes,
I know for once. I was
yes.
like, I said, I swear to God, Wi-Fi, if you put me over. I'm just kidding.
It was perfect. It's perfect. Thank you so much. Love.
Thank you.
Love.
I love you.
Love you. Love you. We'll talk soon.
Yes,
Okay.
talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. So thank you for listening. Make sure you are following Amber on her socials. For Instagram, it's author_Amber Nicole. And on TikTok, it's author.amber.nicole. We'll make sure we have those in the show notes. And as always, please feel free to follow us on Instagram. We are ACOFAE Podcast. And you can also follow both of us on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. Thanks, and talk to y'all soon.